Hello everyone, here we are in Venice in the 59th edition of Venice Biennale in the French Pavilion with Sam Bardaouil, one of the co-curators of the French Pavilion, and they are presenting the artist Zeynep Sedira. Can you tell us more about the work, how it got conceived, and now how it is being presented in the pavilion?
Of course. Basically, Zeynep Sedira, besides being a wonderful artist, has been a friend of ours for many, many years. We worked with her back in 2010, and she also is a very good friend of Yasmina Ragad. So that's why she invited Yasmina, Till, Felras, and I to be her journey followers, on this beautiful, beautiful process. And for the pavilion, Zeynep wanted to look at the films of the 1960s, 1970s, and early 1980s that were coming out from this post-colonial moment. A lot of filmmakers were thinking of cinema as a tool of agitation, as a form of desire, as a strategy of resistance. And what she did is she actually reconstructed a lot of set designs from some of these iconic films like The Bataille d'Alger, L'Étranger, Le Bal by Ettore Scola. So you walk into the pavilion and you actually see a lot of these sets constructed in the pavilion. And then what happens also is she invited a lot of her friends in the curators to come and act in the film. So you see us on the screen and you see the sets in the pavilion. It becomes like a plateau de tournage where reality and fiction come together to become a critique of post-colonial narratives and history.
Wow. Amazing. You are somehow, and like the pavilion somehow is breaking the medium of cinema too, or making it like a multimedia experience, and with also reenactments and maybe performance and photos, and it's like a more immersive experience, right?
Yes, I think that for us it was important to try to rethink the format of the exhibition through the pavilion. I think a pavilion should not be just another exhibition. It should be more of a platform, of an open-ended kind of territory in which you could pull out from different strands, from different mediums, from different disciplines. So cinema means literature, literature meets performance, performance meets sound art, and you will find all these disciplines coming together. Also, what is real and what is fictional, what is a professional actor, what is a non-professional actor in the context of this particular pavilion. What is a nation? The nation at the end of the day is a fiction. So the idea is to also use the notion of staging, which is very much a tool in cinema, to critique the notion of nation building, which is very important in the post-colonial context, but also very, very critical at this moment in time where nations are hardening up, borders are closing up, fascism is on the rise. So all these things were in our mind when we were thinking about the pavilion.
I wanted to also ask you, now that you have mentioned generally about Venice and the venues like this, or galleries, or like now that's, I don't want to use post-COVID, but like now that everything is going more easy, we are back in the venues, we are back in the galleries, what it means, are we somehow revitalizing these venues? Like, has anything changed in the meantime?
Okay. What's very, very important at this particular moment in time is for us to try and learn together from the past 2 years, when we all went through these moments of confinement and seclusion and isolation, when we saw that we are losing people that we love, when we actually saw that we are also suffering economically, institutionally. We couldn't also at one point function as institutions anymore because there was no community to meet with, to engage with, to learn from. So I think a lot of questions came to the fore because of the last 2.5 years, because of COVID, the pandemic, and all the economic and social crises that came out from this, the personal losses. So in a way, it's very important that as we are getting more used to living with COVID, because COVID is not finished and it will not finish very quickly. We are understanding that and we are finding strategies of learning how to live with it. I think what's very important for us is to not forget that there are certain things that must change if we were to be more resilient and if we were to be more relevant and meaningful as institutions. Whether it's a biennial, we are creating the Lyon Biennale, so we're thinking a lot about that. Whether it's a museum with the Hamburger Bahnhof in Berlin, whether it's with how do you work with artists, how do you work with your communities, how do you make sure that the vulnerability that we have all experienced so strongly becomes a source of power and a source of generative resistance in a way to allow us to move forward in a more meaningful way that is not just about bigger and growth, but about taking the time and reflecting and learning how the process sometimes is perhaps more important than the outcome.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's so interesting, and we can't wait to explore the show more. And it's a really amazing experience to be here. Thank you for talking to us.
I have to say thank you for giving us the platform and the time to talk through your project and through your followers about our work. And we really, really look forward to sharing it with you and with everybody else who is probably watching us now, if you can come to Venice. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.